Hello, members of the league, and anyone who's interested in fantasy football and happens to find this video and wants to watch it. So, this is my presentation and my analysis on why the Sad Gang Killaz, my team, should not be the Weenie, and I'm Patrick Harrington. So, a little about the Killaz and about themselves. Patrick Harrington is the first and only owner and general manager that the Killaz have ever had. We are a very wide receiver dependent team, and which is usually surrounded by Michael Thomas. Right here, we live by Michael Thomas. We live by the long ball with him and his little checkdowns that he always gets. PPR league, and we live by the little receptions. We were added to the league in 2014 through the first expansion of the league. We were able to graduate from the Select League. We were never a part of it, fortunately, and we were able to stay in the Premier League because of our elite fantasy skills that we put on display. In the recent era, we have not had a single playoff win. We've also not had a single playoff loss, so let that be known. And that's only going back to 2016. In 2014, 2015, we had many playoff wins. They are just not accounted for, so you will never find them. So we have no idea, but I know we had a lot. More about the Killaz and their owner itself. We've drafted Michael Thomas the past 3 years with our first round pick. We live and die by Michael Thomas. This year was a tough year because of his injuries and because he was not able to produce the way we wanted him to, like he did in the years past. Another thing to be aware of is the owner and general manager, Patrick Harrington, is single. And if any ladies that I doubt will ever watch this video, if any ladies want to hit my DMs, they're always open. Shoot your shot. That's fine. And the Killaz have been known for their explosive games. As you could have seen this year, we had games where we put up 160, we put up 150, and we showed them why we are a playoff team, why we're a good team. However, we had games where we put up 80, we put up 90, and we had games where we struggled. So we live by the long ball. We're an explosive team, and we expect excellence, but sometimes it just doesn't happen. They have a good game plan. And we've been consistently average for many years. We've never been great, but most of the time we've never been terrible. We've been very, very okay. I consider myself, like I say every year, the Miami Dolphins of the NFL. Nothing great. It's not like you're in shock when you play them, but you got to still scout them well. You got to have a good scouting report because we can beat you and we can explode. But overall, nothing great. One thing to note about the Killaz, though, is they thrive in the postseason. You know, the team drags through the regular season, but once it comes to the postseason, once it comes to October, like in baseball, we're there. We show up and we show out. Kid Cudi. And why the Killaz, and now let's get on to why the Killaz should not be the Weenie. What I defined a Weenie as was 3 different factors. 1, being the lowest points for. 2, being the worst record. And 3, the inability to truly compete. And I have a picture of the real Weenie right here and why he should be the real Weenie. So let's get into it. The first one, lowest points for. When a Weenie was originally created, I want this to be stressed, there were 2 different factors that went into deciding the Weenie. One was lowest points for and one was worst record. Before, with the doormat teams of Brad Silver and Brandon Trento, that both have 2 Weenies under their belt, they had both the lowest points for and the lowest record both times. So there was no argument of who should be the Weenie. They took the crown. They were the Mega Weenie. You guys remember that term? Mega Weenie. They were Mega Weenies. Killaz, not a Mega Weenie, so this is a good argument. If you just look for the points for itself, we were 7th, right here, right under the Diabetic Shockers, who won the championship. We were right there with them. A measly 12 points separated us in the regular season between the championship team and the Weenie team. Think about that. So, and the lowest points for, or points for itself, is the only metric that uses skill or that can take skill. You draft your team puts up the points. That's skill. Matchups That's just luck. Stuff happens. Points allowed. Sometimes it doesn't fall your way. But the one thing you can control is your points for. You can draft your team. And now for number 2, worst record. The Killaz did in fact have the worst record. But I want one thing to stress is I had a tie with Colton, and we both put up 145, I believe, in week 2. And I want to be stressed that if we had the decimal system, I win that game. We tie, but if we have the decimal system, I win that game. I'm not the weenie. So we both put up the most points. And since we didn't have the decimal system, I lost, which is fair. It wasn't implemented this year. But if we do, I win, and then this isn't even a discussion. But anyways, I did have the lowest points for, or the lowest record, so I understand why that considers me to be in contention for the weenie, because I checked off the second box about worst record. I took a lot of those this year. As you can see, I'm 2-10-1. Chris is 3-10, and Terrible Toe Mater is 5-7-1. And then number 3, the biggest one in my opinion, is the inability to truly compete. That's what defines a weenie. When you think of a weenie, you think of someone who just can't compete. And the reason why the Killaz shouldn't be the weenie is because they were able to wipe the floor with teams if they had to. When they were told to compete, they did it. And they were able to compete. And a huge emphasis on this is the playoff time. Once it became playoff time, the Killaz were able to compete. And nobody cares about your record if you make the playoffs. All they care about is, what are you doing for me now, and how are you going to win? And that's what the Killaz did in the playoffs. They figured it out, and they won. And another way of competing is when you're battling, it's a battle of the bruisers at the bottom. The Killaz were able to probe the should-be weenie 3 different times. But don't just take my word for it. I have proof going forward of the Killaz being able to truly compete. Killaz versus Gronky Kong, number 1, week 1. Fresh season. Killaz think they're going to be hot, which everyone knows is not what you want. They come out hot, 160. We put up, as you can see across the whole board, the highest points in the league, 160 to 111. Gronky Kong had no idea what was coming. Everyone thought the Killaz were taking the league by storm. 160 in my first game. So that's number 1. Killaz versus Gronky Kong, number 2, in playoff round 1. 109 to 91. The Killaz are out here proving why they shouldn't be the weenie. They're out here playing for vengeance. They didn't play their best game, but they're playing for vengeance and they're playing for the win. They were able to compete, and they did that, and they won. Killaz versus Gronky Kong, number 3. Again, playoff round 3. We're still in postseason right now. 130 to 118. They are able to win, and they're able to put up a competitive score across the entire league. And although it was a competitive game, the Killaz were able to edge them and prove that they are truly the better team and should not be the weenie. Now, you guys may be asking in the audience, Patrick, you skipped from playoff round 1 just to round 3. You must have lost round 2, so you're not able to compete. Like, this is a terrible argument. That's where you're wrong. In playoff round 2, I absolutely probed Mike like it was no man's business. This man thought he should win the entire league, and I came in, the should-be weenie, and wrecked him. I absolutely killed him. He was so hyped up. He hyped himself up so much. Thought he was the GOAT. I'm going on this side here so you guys can read this text. He thought he was the best team the league has ever seen. And he came in and put up a piss-poor performance that week, and the Killaz showed him exactly who they are, and they absolutely killed him. You read this text, and I let Mike have it about how trash his team is and how much he thinks he's good. But anyways, that is my argument for why I think the Killaz should not be the weenie. So, at this time, I just wanted to, give a thank you to absolutely nobody. The Killaz are coming back this year, and they're fucking killing everybody We are coming back and we're making playoffs. We are winning the damn ship next year. Let me see.